This is Work University, episode 43.
This is Work University, and I'm Annalisa Felix. This is where I talk to people from various employment backgrounds and get a better idea of what their job is really like. If you're just graduating or looking to change careers, you're in the right place.
Before we get started, I want to let you know that you can listen to this and many other short career informational interview podcast episodes at workuniversity.org/podcast. Also, you can follow me on Instagram for new episode announcements at work.university. Shoot me a DM and let me know if you want me to cover a career topic. Now let's get to it.
Hello, today I am speaking with Dr. Patrice Buckner Jackson, who is the Associate Vice President for Student Affairs at Augusta University in Georgia. Welcome, Dr. Patrice.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. I'm excited about our conversation today.
So, the Associate Vice President for Student Affairs, what do you do? What is your day-to-day?
Good question. You know, what's funny is even when people ask my parents what I do, I'm not sure they know how to describe it. So in student affairs, we're responsible for the outside of the classroom experience of the students. So where they live, what activities they're involved in, where they eat, the support services that they need, everything from counseling to student health. Universities are like a small city. So anything you have available to you in your city as far as your lifestyle, we make that available to our students. So one day I might be planning a Super Bowl party, socially distanced, of course, these days. Another day I might be sitting with a student who might be homeless or food insecure, and they need some resources to help them be successful in the classroom. I have lots of meetings with our leadership and colleagues on campus to make sure that we are educating our students, but also supporting them. Because often when you lose a student in higher ed, it's not because they couldn't cut it in the classroom. It's because of all the life things that happen while you're in college or before you come to college. So we're responsible for the life part. We're responsible for connecting with our students and supporting them and making sure they have everything that they need so that they can accomplish their goal of completing their degree.
So if they have questions regarding more of transcripts and things like that, that's more of the advisement, but you're more of the life.
Yeah, so we have colleagues in the registrar's office and advisement that help them choose classes and get a transcript and all of those details. But we deal with the things that they need in order to be successful and be healthy and be productive. So we help them make friends. We help them get to know our community and our university and connect to our university. We make sure that there's enough to do. So I have a lot of fun at work. I never thought that I could be in college for a lifetime, but literally I found a job that allows me to stay in college for the rest of my life. And I have a ball at work.
I can hear your smile as you're saying it. So I believe it. I believe it. Is that a year-round position?
Yes. Yeah. So we work through the summer. We work through semesters. It is a year-round position. It's not a contract position. Normally, when you're hired in a student affairs role, you are in that role until you transition to something else.
Is it a 9 to 5, or can you be on call, or maybe you'll get a call during the weekend? What does that look like?
Good question. We often say that student affairs is a lifestyle, not just a job. Um, if you think about it, students live outside of 9 to 5. Most of my students go to class during 9 to 5, but outside of that 5 o'clock hour is when they really come alive. And that's when our resources come in. So a lot of my work is after 5 o'clock. A lot of our programs and our outreach to students is in the evenings, even sometimes on the weekends. During the day, it's more focused on meetings with colleagues and building systems and building processes. And the evenings is when we really get to connect with our students and be a part of their life. So it is not a 9 to 5. At my position, I am on call pretty much 24 hours a day. That doesn't mean I get a call every day, but because I supervise housing and residence life, because I supervise other areas that are attending attending to students on a daily basis, I could get a call at any time, and I do, even in the middle of the night. If there's a crisis, I gotta be available, and I have to help us resolve it.
So, talk a little bit more about meeting with colleagues. So, I understand now the student affairs piece of it, but what departments are you meeting with? What systems are you putting in place
Mhm.
for the students, and how does your outreach with the community and businesses, do you have to speak with them as well?
Absolutely, yes. So if you think about it, my 9 to 5 responsibilities is kind of what happens behind the curtains. So that's the side that the students don't always see, but they experience. So, for example, I might be meeting with colleagues in academic affairs, so professors and academic deans, to talk about how we can support students in being more successful in the classroom. So, what resources can we put in place outside of the classroom? Maybe a study group or a living learning community that will help students get those GPAs up and those grades up in the classroom. I may be meeting with our university police department and talking about safety on our campus and how can we put more safety measures in place, but also how we can communicate those safety measures to our students so that they make good decisions and the whole system works together so that everybody can be safer. I may be meeting with our university leadership. Maybe there's a new mandate that comes down from the state that we need to implement at our university. So we put our heads together and figure out what that means for us and how we can make it real for our students. Concerning our community, any university that doesn't have a good relationship with their community cannot be successful. We
Mm-hmm.
call it the town gown relationship, referring to the graduation gown that students wear when they cross the stage. We need great town gown relationships. So, and they extend the services that we give to our students. So, local counselors, local police, social things to do, even businesses. I'll give you a random example. This week, we've been talking to local businesses about purchasing mountain bikes for our students because we have beautiful trails in Augusta. And we want, when the weather is beautiful in the spring, we want to be ready to introduce our students to those trails. It's about wellness. They need that wellness component, but it's also a connection to Augusta and the beauty of Augusta. So there's just so much variety. I'm never bored at work. Ever. I can never say I'm bored. And some days you just don't know what to expect. So much going on.
So, with all of this, what is even further behind the curtain as far as administrative duties,
Mhm.
paperwork, things that policies, things like that? Tell me about your interaction with those things,
Yeah.
and more about the job that maybe we don't see.
Absolutely. So at the place, I've been doing this for 21 years now. So as associate vice president, my primary responsibility is leading my team. So now I'm at the place that I am responsible for a group of directors, and each one of those directors have their own team of professionals, and all of their professionals have student leaders that they work with. So I am responsible for what we call a unit. And in my unit, there are 6 different departments. So I spend a lot of my time coaching my directors. I spend a lot of my time brainstorming with them and developing processes. So when I say processes, we want to make sure that every student who comes to Augusta University has the same access, the same service, the same processes. And a way to do that is to make sure that your processes are documented and written down and approved. So, one process that I could give you is we have a fund that we can help students who are in financial need. So we have donors who give to that fund and allow us to support students who are in financial need. We need to make sure that that money is distributed in a fair and as equal as possible way, right? So in order to do that, we have to sit down, put our heads together, write some things down, try it out. If it doesn't work, come back and revise that. So there are many, many, many processes that we have, but our goal is to make sure that we're serving all of our students consistently consistently, fairly, and serving them well according to what they need, because every student's need is different.
Right. Now, shifting gears more about you, how did you get to where you are now, and how does somebody move through the education process to get to be an
Yeah.
associate vice president?
I can tell you that I got here because higher education literally changed my life. Literally. The only difference between the lifestyle that I have and what I'm able to offer my daughter and my community and my students, the only difference between what I have and where I grew up and where I'm from, Crocketville, South Carolina. Don't worry, I know you never heard of it. My parents, my people, my family who live still in Crocketville, they work hard, they love hard, they serve hard. The only difference is a few pieces of paper with my name on them called degrees. So when I went to college, I was one of those students that didn't know how to do it. I didn't know books cost money. I did not know how to navigate financial aid. I didn't know that I could get a student job. I had no idea how college worked. And there were people at my college who connected with me and became my guide. And they helped me through the process. And because of them, now I have 3 degrees. I have a bachelor's, a master's, and a doctorate degree because they loved enough or thought enough or was compassionate enough to not to just do their job and check the block, but to notice that I needed a little more help, and they gave me that little more help. So that's how I got into higher ed. When I was a student, I needed to work. I needed a job. My family was not in a position that they could just fund it. I had to figure out a way. So those jobs that I had as a student, one just built on top of another. And before you know it, I created an entire career by jobs that I held as a student. Most people don't even recognize student affairs as a job until they go to college and say, hey, I had a great advisor, or I had a great professional that helped me in housing, and they connect with these people and recognize you can actually do this as a job. So for anybody who might be interested in student affairs, one, I would say get really involved in your college experience. Make sure you join organizations or take a leadership role, because in those leadership roles as students, sometimes we don't recognize how powerful those positions are and what we're learning. But what happens is you learn your coursework, but you also learn skills in those roles that equip you for whatever you want to do in your life. So get involved in your undergraduate experience, and then there are opportunities called graduate assistantships. So if you go get a graduate degree, we pay for your graduate degree while you work part-time in student affairs. So you become a part of our team. You don't have to pay tuition or pay a loan back. And we put a little money in your pocket while you work 20 hours a week. And in that 20 hours a week, we train you what it means to do student affairs and how to serve students. And from there, many graduate assistants go into their first professional job in student affairs.
What about people who are mid-career who would like to get into
Mm.
the university as a position and explore that?
Yes, excellent question. What I would say is look for transferable skills. So, what are you doing right now that transfers into how we serve our students? We have so many areas. Like I said, think of a university as a little city. So, if there are counselors who would like to transfer into higher education, we have our own counselors. We have career counselors. We have full student health clinics. So, our own nurses, our own med techs. We have accounting people in higher education. We have administrative assistants and executive assistants. So if you have experience, you have work experience, find the place in higher ed where we're doing what you do, because I guarantee it's there. And make sure you know how to articulate those transferable skills and how it will serve our students.
About your job or your position,
Mhm.
Please answer or finish the sentence. If people really knew.
Ooh. If people really knew that I absolutely love what I do, but it can be overwhelming, then they would be very intentional about how they manage their time and how they put up personal boundaries.
Good answer. Thank you.
Yeah.
What do you have going on and where can people reach you?
Yeah, thank you. So through higher education, I found my passion to teach and educate and support. And since then, I still work in higher education and I love it. But outside of work, I'm also building some programs where I support other people who do what I call heart work, the kind of work that we know has a direct impact on somebody else's life. So in order to learn more about that, I would encourage you to follow me on Instagram at Dr. Patrice Buckner Jackson. Again, that's at Dr. Patrice Buckner Jackson. And you can check that out. And also, I have a podcast that I'd like to encourage you to listen to. It's called the Love Always PBJ podcast. And you can find that at www.patricebucknerjackson.com/podcast.
Thank you. Dr. Patrice Buckner Jackson, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing your experience.
It's been my honor. Thank you for having me.
Hey, thanks for listening. If you found this valuable, email me and let me know at hello@workuniversity.org. Or if you want to know about a particular job, let me know and I'll create an episode for you. Thanks.